This literally looks like the worst reading wrap-up ever. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Leia, and today we will talk about my November reading wrap-up, which looks like I haven't read anything. I mean, one book I can't show you, so that makes a total of 4 books. But 4 books in 1 month is very unusual for me. I mean, I did have a lot of stressful days at work, so that is the reason why I didn't have time to read as much as I am used to, but yeah, let's go through them. So the first one, which I can't show you, is Two Wrongs Make a Right by Chloe Lise, and this is a romance book, a contemporary romance book, and that's a genre that I try to stay clear of because I just don't enjoy that. I'm not interested in romance that much, but if it's in a fantasy setting or horror setting even, I'm enjoying it, or I can. But in a contemporary setting, oh no. I don't like literary books that much, don't like romance, and if you put the two of them together, it's not making it better for me. I just, if you're wondering why I even picked it up then, well, I read it for a project, I would say, where a group of friends are sending each other books from different genres to read them, annotate them, and send them to the next person until it's back to whoever sent it first. So yeah, that was part of that, so I pushed through it. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it's just not for me, so I gave it 1 star. I'm so sorry, but I don't know what else to say. There's nothing really in it that I really loved. I mean, the female main character is interested in art, so that was interesting. But yeah, I don't want to rant about it just because it's not my type of thing. I'm just not the target audience, and I'm sure there are people who love it much more than I. So if you're interested in any of the following, this might be for you. So we have a revenge plot. We have an autumnal feel-good read right here. So yeah, it really is perfect for the season of fall and also Thanksgiving. And there was also, I think, some Halloween stuff in it. So yeah, just perfect for these kind of months. We've got fake dating in here. And again, I don't like revenge plots, and I don't like the fake dating trope, so it's just not for me, I'm sorry. Yeah, we've got mental health in there, specifically in neurodiversity representation. So if you're interested in that, that's a good read, I guess. And in my opinion, the relationship's quite toxic, so if you're interested in that, this is perfect as well. And as I've said, the protagonist is interested in art, but both of these characters are also interested in chess. They play it also, and there's also some mention of astrology in here as well. And it is said to be a contemporary retelling of a Shakespeare novel, which I have not read, and it's a comedy, so there's some humor in it. Yeah, it's called Much Ado About Nothing. I haven't read it yet. Maybe I'll never will, because I'm just not a fan of comedies, but yeah. I mean, it's a classic. At some point I'll probably get to it, so since I haven't read it, I have no idea if this is a truthful or good retelling of it. And I mean, there's a lot of dating in here as well, so if you're interested in that, go pick it up. But also a lot of miscommunication, in my opinion, which yeah, brings me to the toxic relationship again. And there's not a lot of plot in here. It's basically just about the relationship. Some family stuff, But that's about it. We've got a happy ending in here, so no reason to have to cry at the end. And I think they have insta love going on in there as well, so yeah. Maybe there's someone out there who enjoys that, I have no idea. But one thing that is for sure a positive thing is the pets that the characters have, because they are cats and hedgehogs, and that was really cute as well. Alright, we're done with that. Now let's move on to the other 3 books, and I enjoyed all of them, but I also loved some of them, so yeah, really excited to talk about those. So let's just start with the one on top. It's also the first, no it's not, it's the second book that I've read in November. So this is the second book as well in the, I have no idea how the trilogy is called in English. Great. The trilogy by Holly Black, which is all about Fae. The Folk of the Air, that's what it's called. Thank you, internet. Always appreciate your knowledge. So that's the second book in that series, and I gave it 4 stars, and I really liked it. Yeah, didn't expect it, because some of the Fae books that I've read in the past weren't for me. One was also by Holly Black, so I was really scared going into that series, but I also enjoyed the first one, so yeah, enjoying the second one is just something that I, well, not expected, but was hoping for, so that's good. And I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's the second book in a series, so I don't want to spoil anything, but I think most people have read it before, but if you have not, we follow 2 sisters and their younger brother, I think. Oh jeez. I enjoy the series and I have no idea how many people there were. Great. But yeah, they are living in our normal world, just as we are, but then one day a Fae comes and he says he's their father, and he takes them to the Fae world, and that's where they grow up since then. So in the first book we just follow the 2 sisters and how their life in the Fae world is, and as you can imagine, being a mortal, it's not a fun life, I can tell you that much, but I loved the fantasy aspects. I think it's a premise that normally I wouldn't enjoy, but somehow I did in that context. I really loved seeing the difference between a mortal living in this world, how they are treated, how they can't do what the others can do, but how they are still special, how they're trying to fit in. I love that. And there's some political stuff as well, so political fantasy is almost always interesting as well. And I think it was dark and entertaining and had great fantasy aspects, so yeah, just a bunch of stuff that was enjoyable. Even the romance aspects were interesting for me, so yeah. And in the second book we just follow our characters again. We also have a lot of stuff, as you can see in the cover, that is going on underwater, so not just Fae. And that was cool. I always love underwater stuff, so I enjoyed those parts the most. It's just cool. Again, adored the relationship and pretty much everything that was going on in the last third. It was super epic. And yeah, I really need to read the third book now. I'm so excited for it. The ending was very interesting, so I really need to know what happens next. Yeah. The only thing that I just don't love that much is Holly Black's writing style. I think it's not, I don't know how to say it. It just feels very casual to me, very, well, YA for sure. So there's not a lot of difficulty reading it. You just can fly through the book, but I love if the writing style is, I don't know how to say it, just not that casual contemporary YA simple. So yeah, that's the only thing, because it takes away some of the atmosphere for me personally. And there were also some dialogues and inner monologues that felt a bit odd sometimes, which is why I gave it 4 stars instead of 5 stars, but I don't know, I love the world and most of these characters, so yeah, that's something that I really want to see as an adaptation as well. I mean, that would look quite cool if it's made well, of course. I think this would be a nice, I don't know, TV series. And the next book, which is actually the first book that I finished, I think I started it in October because of the Halloween reading vlog, but I didn't manage to finish it in time, so I finished the book at the beginning of November, and this is Silver Nitrate by Silvia-Moreno, and I had high hopes for this because I already read her previous book, Mexican Gothic, and loved that one, so I thought that I would love this one too, but I don't know, I felt a bit disappointed. This is also the Evernight special edition by Illumicrate, so yeah, really excited to read all of those horror books that they come out now. I just love the idea of finally having a book box with cool horror books in it, with special editions. So yeah, I just hope the future books in this book box will be more for me. I mean, that wasn't bad at all. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars, so it was a good book, and I still have it. I didn't unhaul it, so I did enjoy it, but I don't know, it just wasn't as good. I didn't really like the horror aspects in it. It's historical fiction, kind of, very modern, but still historical fiction, and it's taking place, I think, in Mexico as well, and talks about just the film industry there and horror film industry as well, and has some interesting characters in it. I like the main character. I didn't like her, I don't know if it's a romantic relationship that they are in, but this other guy that she's always with, I hated him. I really hated him. So yeah, he's called Tristan, and every time he showed up, I just hated what was going on. I don't know why, but I just don't like him. I like the main character. I have no idea what her name was again, but liked her, and also her job and what she does in life and how she talks with others, what she thinks and so on. Really liked that, and there were some aspects in there that I also liked in terms of horror. We've also got a lot of fantasy in there, which was unexpected. So I just think it's trying to be too much. I think it should have focused on something, or be a longer book to focus more in depth on all these interesting facts, like the literary aspect, the historical aspect, the film industry aspect, the horror aspect, the fantasy aspect. There's just too much going on. I mostly love if there's a lot of genres mixed together, but I don't know, it didn't work for me in this one. The fantasy aspects felt dull. I don't know. And it was a little bit predictable. Yeah, and there's a lot of action in the later half, maybe the last third even, which I also didn't love as much. The ideas always were great, it's just maybe the execution in this one. I don't know, I mean 3.5 stars is still good, because the beginning, while it was very slow, it was interesting. I loved learning about the film history, as I've said multiple times now. And the atmosphere was good. Silvia-Moreno has a great writing style. So yeah, at times it really felt like reading the Mexican version of The Whisper in Darkness, or even The King in Yellow. There's a lot of stuff that reminded me of that story. But yeah, mixed in with this romance and magic, I don't know if it was for me. And it also, in a similar vein to, I haven't read it, this book about this band where you wonder whether it's based on real characters. I had the feeling in this one as well. I almost tried to Google some stuff if these characters really existed. So in that term, it's just written very, very well. We also have at the end a author's note where Silvia-Moreno talks about her inspirations for the plot, but also the setting and even the characters. So that was very interesting. And yeah, what I didn't already say is that there's also some stuff about Nazis in here, and I just don't care about World War II in books anymore. I don't know why. I think a lot of people feel that way. I really don't know why, because I loved reading them, and I haven't even read a lot of them, like maybe 5 books. But now I'm just not interested in that anymore. So yeah, it was interesting, it was something new, but maybe not for me. Yeah. And I think it was a bit too long for what it was, which is why I said that it might have just focused more on one thing or be longer and more in-depth. But in terms of what I got, I could have read it as a novella as well, which might sound contradicting, but I don't know if it makes sense. Yeah, if it's a Evernight book, I'm expecting horror, and I really didn't get that. It's mostly just horror film industry and romance and fantasy. And if I went into this expecting more of a fantasy romance plot, I think I would have enjoyed it more, because the fantasy wasn't bad. It had great ideas, but I just wasn't interested in it because I was hoping for horror. But yeah, the magic system was good. And the last book that I read in November is this beautiful book called Foxglove by Adeline Trace, which is also a second book in a, I don't know if it's a trilogy or if there's more books planned. I wouldn't hate it if there's more than 3 books, because I really love that series. I mean, the first book I only gave like 3 stars, but the second one is so much better than the first one. Gave it 4 stars, really excited for the third book now. I am super excited also about the cover reveal, because I need it in this version, not the face on the cover version. I love these covers, they are so pretty, and this is a case of a YA romantasy book that I love again, similar to the Holly Black one, which is also romantasy, I would say, and I love both of these. And it's even a predictable book right here, but again, gave it 4 stars. It might have been 5 stars if it's not predictable. Yeah, if something is predictable, it's just not a 5-star book for me mostly. It's something that is quite important to me, to be surprised by the plot. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this sequel, and the fantasy aspects were just so much more interesting than in the first book, and the romance was amazing again. Already was on the first one, but in this one, way better, I think. And great atmosphere again, love the world. And we have even more perspectives in here, I think. Not just our main character, but 3 or 4, I think, in total. So, yeah, I just love multiple POVs, so that's always a good sign. I hope the third book also has a lot of POVs, maybe even more again. I wouldn't hate that. And we not only follow our main character, as I've said, we also have another girl and also a new man that is, in terms of romance, interesting, and also in terms of new fantasy aspects. Yeah, I can't give away anything more than that, but I really love the sequel. If you only thought that the first one was okay, try to check it out. See if this is more like something that you enjoy, because I was kind of surprised with this one. So yeah, we've got in the first one Belladonna. We've got our main character who is quite different than anyone else because she has some fantastical powers, and she also can't really die, and she might have a romance with Death himself. And she can see ghosts. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. And then the second one just expands on it, gets even more complex and interesting. So yeah, really nice. Just got our typical fantasy world with some royal stuff also going on. Has some historical vibes in there as well in that term. But yeah, don't know what else to say. Excited for the next one and loved it. So that's again the end of the wrap up, and I hope you enjoyed it. And the next one in December and in January will be longer. I've read more in these months, so yeah. Until those videos, I hope you have a great day, happy reading, and take care. Bye!